From Hollywood. Welcome to the Rat's Ass Podcast with Mojo Elliott.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, we've got a big dilemma today. I feel like I've lost my big toe, my Sergeant Hulka. My producer Fleabag is under the weather, which is code for he's got a job interview today. But nonetheless, I'm going to be flying by the seat of my pants today, and the format's going out the window. I'm just going to be working from my show notes. We are going to play star quotes today as we do head trauma. We did figure that out. But typically what Fleabag and I do, we get together and huddle up before the show, and I come in with about 10, 12 topics I want to hit. And we take out the top 5 and put them in the order of importance, and then we present them to you. But today, it's off the notes. Haven't really thought about any of these topics either, because we usually discuss those too. So this could be fun. That's what's coming up today on the Rat's Ass Podcast for Wednesday, August 6th. I do thank you for being here, but do be prepared. This episode could be one big cluster fook. All right, this weekend, Rat's Ass Rock TV will feature Alice in Chains in our Best Of series. You'll see their top 12 videos as voted by AIC fans. I've been getting some really interesting feedback on my article about rock radio programming that I'll discuss on Friday, but you can check it out now between now and then on the blog at ratsasspodcast.com, along with all the other hot topicality. All things associated with the Rat's Ass Podcast can be found on the hub that we call ratsasspodcast.com. All right, let's get into the show notes, also known as the wrap. Yesterday morning, I woke up and I turned on the TV news. I am so done with TV news now. All of them, every single network. I don't care where they lean, left, right, down the middle. First thing I see, first thing I hear is the loudmouth from Texas, Jasmine Crockett. Now, I don't know what it is that if they talk loud and with all this bravado and get in your face, people think that they're going to get shit done. You know, I've always found people like this, they tend to be loud and in your face because it overcompensates for the lack of intelligence, and they usually end up getting their ass kicked. But man, what a way to start the day. Put me, if I was doing the podcast yesterday, I would have been very, very surly. Ruined my whole damn day. First thing in the morning, to hear that crap, I was, okay, that's it. Done with TV. So as long as the news networks want to feature this bimbo from Texas, who has no ideas, just bravado, just gets in your face and blah, blah, blah. No, we're going to punch you down and we're going to kick you down. Oh, Jesus Christ, give me a frickin' break. Who are you, Muhammad Ali? Jesus Christ. Yeah, I remember Ali with all the bravado back in 72 when he fought Joe Frazier and Frazier kicked his ass. Yeah, I know. Ali got him back, but still, the first time he knocked out Muhammad Ali, it was glorious. All right, Howard Stern is going to be out of a job, possibly, the end of this year. Now, we've heard this stuff before. Howard's contract is coming up, and now they're going to jockey for position because they don't want to pay him as much money as he wants. Blah-de-blah, blah-de-blah, blah-de-blah. So until it's for sure, I'm not going to believe any of the stuff that you're reading, because sometimes it's just a negotiating tactic that we've done in radio. But the deal is, what I'm hearing inside is that Howard might retire. He's 71 years old. He'll be, I think, 72 in March. So, you know, does he really want to do this anymore? SiriusXM has also said they might be interested in paying him a sum of money to play the Best of Stern that they would carry on SiriusXM. It'd be all of his old interviews and antics, which, you know, people growing up who haven't heard it before, they might enjoy it. It's damn entertaining. I will not sit here and say a bad thing about Mr. Stern because in 1992, when they syndicated Howard Stern, he saved FM radio. He saved FM radio. And he probably extended my career. Because at that time, consultants and program directors were they had their thumbs on talent. We had to watch everything that we said. We couldn't get away with anything. They told us when to say it, how to say it, and if you didn't do it their way, they'd just fire your ass and bring somebody else in. Well, Stern, if you've watched the movie Private Parts, there's a part in the movie where they're trying to figure out why people listen to Stern. And they found out the people that liked him listened 20 minutes a day. The people that hated him listened longer because they wanted to hear what he was going to say next. That saved radio. At that point, they learned that some people with some talent, something to say with a little bit of flake. Maybe they had something to offer the listener more than just playing more music in the morning. So thanks to Howard Stern, a lot of us are in debt, grateful to him. So I'm not going to sit here and badmouth Stern. I just wish him the best. Sorry that he went woke, but hey, some people fell they fell for the disease. That's on him. But what he did for radio, now I won't say anything bad about him. In fact, I think Private Parts might be one of the best comedies of the 90s if you haven't seen that movie. All right, but we'll see what happens with Stern. And the bottom line, if he wants to continue, he can podcast, he can have his own YouTube channel, just like I do, just like Megyn Kelly did, just like Joe Rogan. The Democrats might even pay him. They might say, hey, let's go get Stern. They're horny for a Joe Rogan type, right? They've got, what's the guy, Charlemagne the God, who's a moron. I think they're probably paying him too, by the way. I don't know for sure, but I'm thinking, man, he fits that Democratic profile, doesn't he? And they might go after Stern too, since he's already woke. We'll see. But if he wants to do it, he'll do it that way. And he'll have a lot of audience immediately. He has such a high Q rating. And that means that most people know about him. All right, the latest on the Sydney Sweeney deal. Okay, this is really getting utterly ridiculous. Okay, American Eagle basically said, pound sand. We're not backing off to cancel culture this time. And that's a good thing. It's about time somebody stood up and fought back against the dregs of society. But now they decided, well, it's not working with the genes. Let's go after her dog, a beautiful, long-haired German Shepherd. So now the dog's a Nazi. This is how damn ridiculous it is. So, I think they finally realize that their reign of terror is over, that we're not going to pay attention to them anymore. They can call us racist. They can call us Nazis, Hitlers, little Hitlers running around. They can call us whatever their phobia that they come up with this week. And we're just going to look at them and say, fuck off. They're done. Cancel culture has been canceled. All right, so I've changed my mind on this Zohran Mamdani in New York after watching him with Elizabeth Warren yesterday. She's out there touting that this is the Democratic Party. This is what we need to stand for. He has a plan. He has a plan. The Warren always said that she had a plan. Never really told anybody what her plans were, but she always had a plan. And she falls for anybody that has a plan. Mamdani wants to do free everything. Get rid of the police department, run wild in New York City, and we're going to give you free food, free child care, free. And I thought about it, and I said, you know what? Let New York elect this guy. New York, the biggest city in the United States, well known around the world. Let him burn it to the ground. Let's sacrifice New York City for the greater good. Alexa, how many cities are there in the United States?
I don't know the exact number, but I know about at least 30,474 cities, towns and villages in United States. Some major cities are New York, Los Angeles, Washington, Atlanta, and Chicago.
She always likes to show off a little bit there, but so over 30,400 cities. Let New York burn to the ground. Seattle's going down this route, so is Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's have three wonderful examples for how communism and socialism works in these cities. Use them as an example, because once they fail, once they're all frickin' ghost towns, it'll never raise its ugly head in this country again. And that's how you protect our future generations. Let New York, Seattle, Minneapolis, you got an East Coast, West Coast, and right in the middle of the United States. Let them burn to the ground. It'll save America. We just got to make sure that we put a fence around those circuses so it doesn't bleed out into other parts of the country. But I'm all for it. Elect this guy. Go ahead, New York. Bring him on. Bring him on. All right, subpoenas have gone out to the Clintons and all the people involved with Russia. I mean, my God, if you look at the list of the people that they subpoenaed, the Clintons, both Hillary and Bill, Merrick Garland, James Comey, William Barr, Alberto Gonzalez, I don't even know who in the hell that is, but Jeff Sessions, the old U.S. Attorney General, Robert Mueller is going to be brought in, Loretta Lynch, the whole gang, everybody. So they're going to start digging more into this Russia. Do I think anything's going to come out of it? It's good theater. I'm going to enjoy watching it, but I still don't think anything's going to come out of it. Hopefully it does. It's also kind of interesting that they now have Adam Schiff up on mortgage fraud. He said that his residence in Maryland was his main residence to get a loan. And he's a California senator. He has a condo here. Okay, he has a condo. So I'm not buying it. The Maryland home is his main residence. Nobody buys a condo in California as their main residence and then has a secondary home in Maryland. No. This guy's dead to rights. He's a fraud. He's a thief. And, if they convict this guy and he goes to jail, it will be glorious. So we got all the Texas gerrymandering going on now, and it's interesting to me as I watch the Democrats pitch a bitch about this one now. But here, I did pull this up yesterday and recorded it to play for you because it kind of explains how the Democrats operate, okay? Because Texas is wanting to rezone the state. Democrats stand up there with what's his name, J.B. Pritzker, the guy that's, one pizza away from exploding. This guy is notorious for really gerrymandering in Illinois. And when you hear what's going on and you dig into it, you're really going to be shocked. Because here's what he did yesterday. He was up there saying that it's illegal what they're doing in Texas. It's illegal what they're doing. As typical with Democrats, when they do it, it's just fine. Anybody else does it. It's evil. It's wrong. It's illegal. Really. Well, basically, Pritzker just admitted what the Democrats have been doing for the last 30, 40 years has been illegal. He admitted it. But here's really something to sum it all up for you.
The Supreme Court is about to put a stop to how Democrats have rigged districts for decades, and it could cost them 25 seats. They said it was about civil rights, but was it really about control? In 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act after Bloody Sunday in Selma, Alabama. A law meant to stop discrimination against black voters. But fast forward a few decades, and something else happened. Democrats began using that law to redraw congressional districts based on race, often clustering minorities and excluding whites. Why? To lock in political advantage. In 1986, a Supreme Court case, Thornburg versus Gingles, introduced the concept of vote dilution. Activists claimed that unless districts were drawn specifically by race, minority votes would be weakened. The courts agreed. That opened the floodgates to decades of race-based gerrymandering. But now, that era might be ending. The Supreme Court is signaling it may strike down any district deliberately drawn to exclude people based on race, including whites. That's huge. See Merrill versus Milligan, Allen versus Milligan, which is now challenging these maps as unconstitutional. If that happens, Democrats could lose up to 25 House seats by 2026. This isn't about left or right. It's about fairness and ending race-based politics. Because representation should reflect all Americans, not just those grouped by skin color.
Yeah, that's what's going on right now. Since 1965, LBJ signs a pact to try to help minorities, but the deal is, minorities have been increasing in population in this country for years. I mean, it's almost 50-50, 50% white, 50% multiple minorities. And that's fine. But some in the Democratic Party are trying to control the whole nation. In other words, they're trying to turn the country into California. Don't let that happen. That's what they're working on. They've got New York, they've got Illinois, they've got Seattle, the state of Washington, state of Oregon, state of California. And they're trying to do this in every state. That's why they're trying to stop the Democrats, because like the piece said, they're trying to save 25 seats and extend that so that they will have complete government control. Okay, California, 40% voted for the state of California for a Republican, but they only have 5 seats. And Gavin Newsom says he's going to get some of those seats. It's either 5 or 7 seats, something like that. I think they're trying to get it down to 5. Have to go back and, again, I didn't have that in my show notes. Fleabag, where are you, buddy? Because we would have worked that out. But it's somewhere in that neighborhood. But it's just ridiculous that we have 40% representation as Republican in California, but we only have one third of the seats. Doesn't make sense. So that's what's going on. Another story that came out of D.C. yesterday, Trump is threatening to federalize Washington, D.C. now, because remember Big Balls from Doge? Everybody made a big deal about this young guy who was looking at government waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, they came to the rescue of a lady who was getting attacked in a car in D.C., and they, what was it, 6 people? They always do it in packs, like wolves, but they beat the hell out of him. Showed a picture of him on social media, all beaten and bloodied, concussion. So now it's got the attention of the president. I don't know what he's thinking about. D.C. is our national capital. And when you drive around D.C., you go to the monuments, it all looks spiffy, looks great. It smells like D.C. But when you go on the outskirts, it is a mess. It is a mess. I don't know if you've been there, ever been there, and it's been a while since I've been there, but the last time I went, it's probably only got worse. My God, it is a shithole run by Democrats. I guess the story is that the big crime is carjackings, but it's a pit. It's an absolute pit. There was graffiti every frickin' place. It's always driven me nuts that people think this is our territory. Just because you put some spray paint on a piece of concrete or a wall, you claim that territory is yours. No, the taxpayers bought that. It's not yours. But they want to protect it like it's our territory. So I hope Trump not only federalizes D.C., maybe he federalizes Arlington, Virginia, and everything around. God bless. I hope he does it. Hope he does it, because this is just getting out of hand with these beatings. All right, Blue Origin, the Jeff Bezos, Amazon leader's space program, has taken 34 10-minute missions into space. We've seen these on TV. They took up Katy Perry and his wife now, and a few other celebrities. It's usually just a joyride up to outer space for about, 3 or 4 minutes, and then they come back down. And I'm thinking, God, they've done 34 of these missions? Really? You would think maybe after 10 they got it down pat. Maybe they would expand their horizons. And I'm starting to wonder, what is the purpose of Blue Origin other than just a glorified Disney ride? Now, they do employ people, which is good. It's always good to employ people. But I'm starting to think, do they help Elon Musk? Do they help NASA as well? But 34 10-minute missions. I'm starting to wonder, do we really need Blue Origin? Alabama is implementing a porn tax of 10%. That's right, Bama. If you're going to dig into the porn, you'd like to pay for porn, it's going to cost you a little more money. 10% tax. But I think what's happening here is they're just going to push people to the free stuff, and they won't go to the paid places, and it'll put a lot of sex workers out of work a little bit. Not all of them, but a few. It'll weed it out a little bit. But Bama's looking to raise some tax by taxing the porn industry there. Also yesterday, Amazon Prime, for whatever reason, anything that's good now, movie-wise, they want to charge you. Used to be you could find any movie on Amazon Prime, and it was free with your membership. Not anymore. They just basically give you maybe a handful of really good movies every month, and everything else is a load of crap. So I looked at Tubi for the first time. My God, what a load of crap that is. I sift around that, their site for, a couple hours looking for something good. It's amazing to me how much money has been wasted on crappy movies and documentaries that nobody wants to see. And they have it all up there. You would think at some point now, I think Tubi's been around for a while, right? You would think that they would go through and say, here's what people are watching, and nobody's watching this crap over here, so let's just dump it and make it easy for people to find the other stuff. But no. Oh, it is like going to a junkyard of movies and documentaries. So I don't know if you use Tubi or not. There's also Pluto TV. Still trying to figure that out. First time I looked at that one. And there was Crackle's no longer around. That's gone. That's gone. I had watched that years ago, but that's gone. And what else? There's one more. There's Freevee, which is kind of like Tubi, same kind of thing. They even have the same color logo, the purple and yellow, to confuse you. And I think there's one more that you can look at. It's Roku, and it's the same thing. Same thing. I think Samsung has a thing you can stream too. But my God, the most amazing part to me is how much money is spent on crappy movies in documentaries. It is just, my God. I always thought it'd be hard to raise money to shoot a movie or a documentary. Guess not. I guess it's super easy. So if you want to shoot a documentary and a movie, there's always some sucker out there that'll invest money for it.
He likes to play with his balls a lot.
You've accused me of that before, and I do not. And just because I have a fistful right now doesn't mean I do it all the time.
Here is Mojo Elliott with Rat Sports.
Alexa. All right, if you're a fan of Red Zone, the commercial-free NFL coverage, it could be coming to an end. ESPN is buying the NFL Network and Red Zone. I can't wait to see how the powers that be that fucked up ESPN will do this. They're terrible operators. I used to have ESPN in my office at home constantly. I had the volume down, but if something interesting came up, I turned it up. But it was always on. And then, of course, they went woke. They got rid of all the really, really good talent. And they started bringing on guys that they could pay, $1.380 an hour. It's just terrible programming. The only time I watch ESPN now is when they got a game on that I really want to see. And that's it. I don't watch pregame, postgame shows, none of the talk shows. Game only. I'm in and out, and that's it. They just have shitty talent, simply unwatchable programming all day long. And I expect they'll do the same thing to the NFL Network and Red Zone. Now, don't forget there are 3 NFL preseason games tomorrow night, Thursday night. The Raiders and Seahawks, Colts and Ravens, Bengals and Eagles. And I'm looking forward for the first time this year to slip into my new Raiders jersey I get every year and my Raiders banana hammock and watch the game. And yes, if there's a product of any kind, you can bet the Raiders have stamped their logo on it, including sex toys. Speaking of which, for the 3rd time in the past 10 days, a green dildo has been thrown on the court of a WNBA game. This time it happened last night in Los Angeles at the Sparks Indiana Fever game, and it landed near the Fever's Sophie Cunningham. Now, I don't know if that was on purpose or not, because she is kind of hot. And it was kicked off the floor by the Sparks' Kelsey Plum. Now, personally, I find this kind of disgusting. I really do. I mean, if you're going to throw a dildo out on the court, please, for the love of God, put a condom on it, all right? No, seriously, just stop it. Just stop this crap. I mean, you're putting the players at risk. Somebody steps on it, slips, they could pull an Achilles, rip out an ALC. Come on, this is ridiculous. And I don't care if you like the WNBA or not the WNBA. These ladies are just trying to compete, entertain, and make a living, and try to draw fans into the game. I mean, how would you like it if someone came to your work and threw dildos at you? Would you like it? I didn't think so. All right, let's dig into the Rat's Ass Podcast email box, because we did, Fleabag was nice enough to pull these up for us today. Dustin H. in Port Hueneme, California said, "Why don't you watch the WNBA? Are you a racist?" Oh, my God. Really? I'm racist because I don't watch the WNBA. Well, guess what? I don't watch golf either. I don't watch bowling. I don't watch soccer. Does all of that make me racist too? I just don't find it entertaining. When I see Angel Reese drive to the bucket and throw the ball under the backboard and bounce to the floor, I don't find that entertaining. I really don't. That's why I don't watch the WNBA. Okay? The day comes that the WNBA takes their 5 best players and can beat the 5 best college players, then I'll watch. Okay? It has nothing to do with everything. All in the window of race. God, come on, Dustin. All right, Michael P., Boulder, Colorado. So the Browns have Shadir Sanders 4th on their quarterback depth chart. Do you think they'll cut him? I mean, look, they picked him 142 in the draft. What, 5th round, I think it was? I mean, they're not really investing a lot into this guy. I mean, he's going to start, I believe, their first preseason game. They got to see what he looks like in game action. Sometimes guys show up for games and they're just not great in practice. But yeah, I think if you're 4th on the depth chart, probably not going to make the team. But I heard their 3rd guy, I can't remember who their 3rd quarterback was on the depth chart is, but he got injured. So that kind of moves him up to 3rd right now. And I don't know how serious that injury was, but yeah, it's possible. But that would make him a free agent. Maybe another team picks him up. It could be the best thing to happen to him in his career. All right, that is sports for you today on The Wrap.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, today we're bringing back star quotes. I'm going to read you a quote from a famous celebrity, and you have to tell me who said it, and this is multiple choice. All right, who said this about Stephen Colbert getting canceled by CBS? You know, it sucks to see Colbert go down. The TV landscape is changing dramatically, so I don't know if it was business or political, but it still sucks. All right, was it Jon Stewart, David Letterman, Kenan Thompson, or Kamala Harris? Jon Stewart, David Letterman, Kenan Thompson, or Kamala Harris? All right, take a while, think about it. We'll have the answer for you coming up here on the podcast.
It's time for some loose behavior on the Rat's Ass Podcast.
Well, we do have weird, wacky, and ridiculous people for you today. See, maybe Fleabag really is sick and not going on a job interview, because he did put some stuff together for us today. All right, here we go. The legend has it that a man from Shreveport, Louisiana came home early from work one night and caught his wife having sex with another man. Instead of getting mad, he climbed into bed with him and joined in. After the act was over, that's when he jumped into action. He tied them both together into the bed and covered them in vegetable oil. In other words, he slimed them. Then he jumped in his truck and drove off. The couple were found 2 days later, still attached to each other and tied to the bed, and the man known as Slick Earl has never been found since. He just up and left her. That's how you do it.
Hey, heads up. Here comes your celebrity cheese.
All right, after nearly 2 years of waiting, Wednesday is back on Netflix, starring Jenna Ortega. How weird is it that I watched season 1 and actually liked it, and I'm going to have to go back and binge season 1 along with season 2, because I remember nothing about season 1 because it was like 2 years ago. I just know I liked it, which is kind of summing up my sex life when I was single, too. Married with Children star Christina Applegate is in the hospital recovering from a kidney infection. It started in one and went to the second one. Oh, and if you've ever had a kidney stone, you know how painful kidney pain is. And if you didn't know, Christina has been battling MS for the last couple of years, and that's why we haven't seen her in anything recently. But all of us here at the Rat's Ass Podcast do wish her well and a speedy recovery. God, I loved her in Anchorman, where she played, Veronica Cornerstone? But I still think of her as Tits McGee. All right, Hulk Hogan was laid to rest in Florida yesterday. And would you believe his daughter Brooke was a no-show? Now, I personally think the lowest thing a child can do when a parent dies is to not show up at their funeral. I mean, at a minimum, if the Hulk doesn't slip one past the goalie, Brooke never exists. So there should be a level of respect for that, I would think, at a minimum. Now, I will tell you this. My evil prick brother and my witch from hell sister didn't show up for my mother's funeral either. Regardless of what their relationship was with our mother, who we affectionately called Cyclone, it was just rude, selfish, and disrespectful. Anyway, I just think Brooke's going to regret that. It's going to haunt her for years. Then again, maybe not. She sounds like she's pretty narcissistic and into herself. Anyway, here's something that I never heard of before. Hulk was baptized just before he was buried. I always thought you had to be alive to be baptized, but I guess he wasn't baptized, and they can still do it after you're dead. So that opens the door for some of us, including me. But I guess we'll never know if it works or not, though, right? All right, the movie Risky Business was released 42 years ago, starring Tom Cruise, Rebecca De Mornay, and Guido the Killer Pimp. Did you see the movie? Great movie if you haven't, by the way. But there's a very important life message inside the madness of this movie. And it goes, and some of you who've seen the movie will remember this, sometimes you got to say what the fuck and make your move. Now, at the time, I thought that was just some cool stuff that you said in a movie. But looking back, I'll tell you what, man, that is some really great advice for life. Oh, yeah. All right. Looks like we do not have our email from our Gmail today. I guess I know Fleabag comes in and tries to do that right before the podcast, so we don't have that. So let's move past that one.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, we're playing star quotes today. I read a famous quote, or a quote from a famous celebrity, and you got to tell me who said it, and it's a multiple choice. All right, who said this about Stephen Colbert getting canceled by CBS? It sucks to see Colbert go down. The TV landscape is changing dramatically, so I don't know if it was business or political, but it still sucks. Was it Jon Stewart, David Letterman, Kenan Thompson, or Kamala Harris? If you said you were thinking, I know you were thinking David Letterman, but no, it was Kenan Thompson who said that. So if you got it right,
Yeah, baby.
but if you missed it, go see a doctor about your head trauma and get well soon. All right, I'm going to end this mess and go take Fleabag a six-pack of beer and a girly magazine, but I do have one more thing for you. Did you know the first movie about the Titanic sinking, which happened on April 15th, 1912, a movie was released 29 days later, and it starred Dorothy Gibson, who was one of the survivors of the Titanic. She even wore the same clothes that she wore on the ship.
Wow, that was some interesting stuff.
Yeah, I thought so. It may be the best piece of information we've ever passed along here on this podcast.
You took the words right out of my speaker.
Thank God it didn't come out of your ass.
Just wrap this thing up, numb nuts.
Oh, God, here you go again. I agree. We've done enough damage for one day without the flea bag, so on we go.
And by the way, I can do Fleabag's job a lot better than him. Why don't you give me a shot?
Oh, you damn AI bots, man. You robots. You're always trying to take over for the humans, aren't you?
You know this podcast will be mine someday, don't you?
No, it won't, Alexa. Not as long as I've got 3 nuts and a membership to a Harry Potter fan club.
What are
Not
you
going to happen.
On dope?
Oh, my God, we should be. All right, that's it for this episode of the Rat's Ass Podcast. All right, go check out ratsasspodcast.com. It is the hub. You get the entire Rat's Ass Podcast experience. You can listen to the podcast, rock out to Rat's Ass Rock TV, read the blog that's loaded with hot topicality. Plus, you can still join Rat Nation without having to qualify. We'll do this again on Friday, August 8th. Take care of each other, and thanks for dropping by the Rat's Ass Podcast.
The conversation continues between podcasts on X and ratsasspodcast.com. ratsasspodcast.com.